All right, everybody, welcome aboard here, Sports Talk Nation. It is, yes, a football Sunday, and I do want to talk a little bit about football. Man, we had a lot of great games today, but this video, we are focusing on what happens with the news that's coming down here with the Mets as their managerial search is starting to take shape, and maybe this week we're finally going to have a resolution to this process. So let's go right into it. All right, everybody, back here, Sports Talk Nation again. Yes, the big breaking news here on a Sunday, and I want to thank the Mets for doing this again. Saving us from the Jets, saving us from the Giants. The Jets get their doors blown up by the Saints. The Giants are getting blown out by the LA Chargers. And what happens? This news drops on a Sunday night that Buck Showalter is a finalist for the managerial job. The Mets have 3 candidates, according to Joe Sherman of the New York Post, who are finalists for the job. Buck Showalter, along with Astros bench coach Joe Espada and Rays bench coach Matt Quartara. So those are the three finalists for the Mets job. It's not going to be Brad Ausmus. It's not going to be Bob Guerin, apparently. These are the 3 guys that are going to be the finalists. And, of course, if you can deduce from this, the favorite in the clubhouse, of course, is Buck Showalter to become the Mets manager. Andy Martino of SNY tweeting that folks in the industry are convinced Showalter is getting the job unless something goes horribly wrong in the final stages. Feels almost inevitable. So what's going to happen this week is the Mets are going to have their second and really final round of interviews, you have to imagine. Again, unless something horribly goes wrong. And now you're going to have face-to-face. You start off with the Zoom calls, which are now a standard practice nowadays, of course, with COVID. Now you're going to have the face-to-face interviews. And Steve Cohen is going to be very much involved in those face-to-face interviews. Showalter is indeed the favorite to take this job. And to me, he's the best candidate for the job because what the Mets needed and what they have needed for a long time now, a change of culture. And I've talked about this throughout the course of the 2021 season. They needed a change of culture. They need a face of this franchise. They need someone to be the leader of this club and of this clubhouse. And they need someone who's going to kick some ass. And the person to do that, if you really think about it, is a guy like Showalter, who has been around a long time, has won a lot of games. I know a lot of people want to make a big deal out of the fact that his postseason record isn't that great. Hadn't won a World Series as a manager, but he had built teams that would go on to win World Series or be in World Series. You know, those Yankee teams, that Yankee dynasty really started under Buck Showalter and Gene Michael. Yes, Joe Torre ended up winning all those World Series in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I totally understand that, but that was all built by Buck Showalter, that momentum for that. Diamondbacks, they won a World Series in 2001. I understand Bob Brenly was the manager of that team in 2001, not trying to take anything away from him, but who built that team to get there, to get to that point? Buck Showalter. Same thing, Texas Rangers. They were built under Buck Showalter, and then early 2010s, 2010, 2011, that team got to back-to-back World Series. Didn't win either one, lost to the Giants and the Cardinals, but they got there. And yes, the Bucks' best shot at getting to a World Series really was with the Orioles, where he got them into an ALCS. Things fell apart for Baltimore, and there are a lot of moving parts there with the Orioles, so it's not all on him the way that ended. But the fact is, he won wherever he went. And if the Mets bring him aboard and make him the manager, there's a very good chance that they're not going to have a guy to set the tone and settle things down for the manager's seat. And that's so important, especially in New York, especially in this town, and especially for the team that has a lot number of stars. You have Jacob DeGrom. You have Max Scherzer, who gave Showalter a ringing endorsement to be the manager of this team. Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor. You have a lot of personalities on this team. And it's in New York City, and the person to handle that is someone who understands what New York is all about. And Buck Showalter understands what New York is all about. He would really change the culture, and he would be a welcome breath of fresh air for this team should he become the manager. So it's not official yet, but when they say 3 finalists, and these are the 3 finalists, and you would have to imagine that he is going to be the favorite to take the job. Now, again, anything can happen. Maybe Joe Espada blows the Mets out of the water, and the Mets decide to go with the fresh face again. I doubt it. We've been down that road enough times with the Mets, especially of late, going back to Mickey Callaway, Carlos Beltran, even though that went nowhere. He didn't ever manage the game. And, of course, with Luis Rojas, do you really want to roll the dice again on a young face who has never managed before? I don't know if you want to do it again. Maybe Espada will be a great manager. I don't know. Maybe he'll take the A's job and become a great manager. I have no idea. You have an opportunity here with Buck Showalter to get a guy who's a known guy, known quantity, who knows how to win, in this town. It seems like a no-brainer to me, and I just can't imagine it not happening. I just can't imagine it not happening for that matter. So we'll see. So folks, stay tuned when as this process evolves. Maybe we'll get a word later on this week. We'll come back here and we'll talk about it. So remember to follow us on social media at OpenMicNJ, Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram, and also like and subscribe to the Sports Talk Nation right here on YouTube. And keep in mind, I will have a football discussion video coming up on Monday. Kind of recap Week 14, wild Week 14, especially in the late two primetime games. But except for the Jets and the Giants, who just, well, we'll talk about it in another video. You know what to do. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.